As part of this principle we try to be totally transparent, keep everybody informed what's going on. I want to bring you up to date this morning with what's happening with our building development. I'm going to present it without questions, because otherwise, if I do this in full, it would take us an hour, okay? I'm going to try and do it in a very few minutes, so it's very much going to be headlines, and some of you will have questions. So what I'll do at the end of the service, when the ministry team are over here, I'll be over here, and I've got all the drawings and all the specs and everything with me, and if there's anything you want to see or ask about, come and see me and ask, all right? Now, I'm just going to run you through some headlines. Last week, somebody said to me, well, I suppose when things start happening on the building, we'll get confidence that more things will happen. So I thought I'd run you through the last 3 years to give you some of that confidence as we begin. The journey so far, really. We'll start in 2019, all right? Where, for reasons we won't go into, we had a building that was in need of a great deal of maintenance. We had a big backlog, and it was in need of development, so it was functional for the ministry we're trying to operate out of, okay? And we hadn't loved it as we should have done. And this building is our entrustment. It's been given to us by God through the work of our forefathers to look after. So in 2020, the PCC repented of that attitude and said, okay, we are going to look after this building, and these are the principles we'll work with. We will respect the history of the building. We will honor it as a building worthy of God. We will do the obvious things quickly. We will seek to sensitively develop the building to be fit for our needs now, while building in flexibility so it remains fit for the future. We'll seek to build and repair to as high an eco standard as we can. And those principles, the PCC agreed 2019, and we've been working with those since. So we started in 2020, 2021, COVID time, remember, and we revamped the foyer, refurbished that, the car park, which was full of puddles, sorted that, notice boards outside, lots of signage, and we sorted lots of storage issues around the building. So those are the quick and easy things. In 2022, that's when we refurbished that room into the church lounge that we now have. We spent about just over £50,000 on that. And then in 2022 to 3, we did some minor changes to the kitchen with a new commercial dishwasher and so on, but then the full revamp last summer, and we've spent about £27,000. We've now got that lovely new kitchen that if we ever build more disabled loos somewhere else, we can expand the kitchen into that space as well. And phase 4, last year also, we did the whole revamp of the entrance area to make it more welcoming on the way in. So there's some of the things that have just happened very briefly over the last few years. Hopefully that gives you some confidence going forward. We've also had the ongoing stuff of the maintenance catch-up. We have a thing called the quinquennial list that every 5 years an architect inspects our buildings, gives us a big long list. And we had a massive backlog on that. We're working through it with the aim in just over 2 years' time, when we get our next quinquennial, of having that cleared out. There's a crew here every Wednesday morning. It's usually Dave and Stuart Cleal and Mark Slater, but everybody is welcome. And they work their socks off every Wednesday between about 10 and 12 in the grounds, in the building, doing whatever needs doing. We've had Haggai working days when the majority of you have come along and helped to clean and do jobs to look after the building. And we've got a small buildings group that looks after it. So that's ongoing, and we keep the pressure on that. But it's what's going on in 2024 that I really wanted to lay before you. 3 issues. First, we expect to replace the heating system. Second, we expect to put solar panels on that south roof. And third, we expect this whole worship area to be reordered. I'm going to give you a little bit of detail on each of those. The heating replacement, it will be air-to-air heat pumps. So we will be using, the energy contract's about to be changed, 100% green energy. We're putting in some fairly expensive optimized control systems, so we only use the energy we need. And it'll be capable of heating and cooling. So was it last summer or the summer before, we couldn't really sit in that room. It got too hot, which is hard to imagine, but it was true. And we'll have the ability to use air conditioning in there. Now, the status of that at the moment, the systems are fully designed. The faculty has been granted. I'll explain more about faculties in a minute if you don't know. And we've agreed the contract with the installer. The problem we hit was that we didn't expect, or our architect didn't expect the planning authority to be at all interested, but they've decided they are. So we're having to spend a whole bunch of money with making planning applications and all that, and that's rolling through at the moment. Until we have that, we can't do it. It's not the inside that worries them, it's the heat exchangers going on the outside. So that's in progress, and if as soon as the planning authority says yes, we do it. So that's the first thing for your prayer lists. Second one, the solar panels on the new roof. We can fit a 21 kilowatt array on that south roof, which is pretty huge. We're going to do it using integral solar panels. They're not the ones that stick on top of your slates. They're the ones that replace the slates. Now the whole roof of the bit you're sitting in hasn't had any major work on it since the Victorians put it up, we think, in about 140 years ago. So we're going to take the opportunity to strip it all off, insulate the whole thing properly, because at the moment there is no insulation. The draft up there is astonishing. So we insulate it, we put the solar panels in, and then we slate all around it. That will make us at least carbon neutral, because we'll be exporting so much electricity all through the week. In terms of status on that, the design is complete. The contract we have agreed. Prices may change because of the delays. We've got some faculty permissions to sort through. And the main problem with that is finding roof contractors that will say they'll do it within not 2 years at a time. There's a lot of issues post-COVID finding building contractors that are willing to pick up work and do it. And so for your prayer list, that we get the right roofing contractor in a timely way for that. But that's all ready to go, apart from, say, a few permissions. Then the big one, the one that you'll notice most, is sorting this whole worship area out. And it's the one that will change the feel of the building most. The design that we've worked around basically comes off that east window. It's so obscured from some of you by the screen at the moment that that's a really beautiful window. And so we built the design off that and the colours off that. And that picture there gives you some feel for what it will look like. The status at the moment on this is the design is complete. There's over 130 pages of it. There's 28 drawings. I have them all here, and if you want to see any of them, you're welcome, okay? We have applied for the faculty. We did that before Christmas. We've had the first responses back. Now, what a faculty is, in a Church of England building, for those of you who don't know, we have a kind of parallel planning system to the normal national one. And there's a thing called the Diocesan Advisory Committee, and they look at the plans and they make a recommendation to a judge who's called the Chancellor, and he's the one that grants the faculty. Without the faculty, we can't do the work. So we have to convince the DAC that what we're doing is right and good, and then they advise the Chancellor, but he makes the decision. We've had the first replies from our faculty application. The architectural advisor, they give it to advisors first before it goes to the whole committee. The architectural advisor has generally welcoming. He's got a few queries, you expect that, we can answer them. The lighting and electrical thing, we've got more to sort on that, but loads of meetings and loads of work basically is all I need to tell you, but pray that we get the faculty granted and then we can continue with this work here. To give you a feel for the bits that are in it, these are headlines. I'm going to take you from the front of the church there, the east end, all the way to the back of this space and show you what's going to be different. First of all, at the very front there, there's going to be a new vestry and a music store. It'll be under the height of the window, so you won't really see it. It'll be blended in. But in there, it goes across and then angles down at the sides. So new vestry, new music store, and then a new front wall there, which will have on it the existing Christus Victor in the middle, but then two big screens, which will allow us to put any kind of artwork we want on there, sort of 21st century Reredos screens, if you like, paintings. So that'll be at the very front. Then there'll be a new stage. This whole area will be a flat, level area with runways underneath for all the cabling, so that's not laying around loose, and then a couple of steps here. So we've got a big, flat stage area. Then there'll be new lighting throughout the entire building. It's a really good and innovative lighting scheme. It'll highlight things like those arches, the things in this building you don't really notice, but actually are the good bits about the building, little highlight spots and things like that. There'll be a new fire door here, because we haven't got any fire escapes anywhere near the front of the building. There will be a new war memorial. The only war memorials we have at the moment are, one of the pews has got a plaque in it from the fallen of New Street. There's a little plaque there, and there's a tatty bit of paper down near the organ. We're going to take the pew that was given in the name of the fallen of New Street and turn it into a war memorial and put it on the wall here. So we've got somewhere we can put the poppies and that sort of thing. There's going to be new windows. All the windows will be replaced. We learned during COVID that we can't ventilate this building. There's no way to open any windows. So we're going to put double glazing in, but with inward opening vents. So if we need to get ventilation through, we can. We're going to put 190 new seats in. So the pews go. The seats will be the same style as the ones that we're using in the hall at the moment, slightly different colour, and they will come up to here because we're going to be leading from the stage. We haven't got this in the way. So we can get 190 capacity into the building. New carpet, new decorating, as you'd expect. Totally new AV systems, so new screens, new sound system using the best bits of what we've got. New AV desks, and they'll be up on a platform so the guys on the desk can see what's going on. And then what's currently the vestry, that big Holy Trinity cross came from Holy Trinity Church, doesn't really belong here. St John's Leamington want to fly it above their rood screen, which is where it should be. That's what it was designed for. So we're going to gift it to them, put a big window in that wall, and then that room becomes a creche stroke sensory room. So it'll be equipped properly for any children with sensory issues, and there are a lot of them around. We'll have a place they can escape to if they need to. So those are the key bits going front to back. The key issues we're trying to resolve are these. First of all, capacity. We can get up to 190 from about the 140 we can get in this room at the moment. Flexibility, we'll have stacking chairs, so when connections over spills, we can actually get in here and do stuff. Accessibility, 10% of the chairs in here will have arms, so those of you that need them to get up and down will be able to. We'll have the sensory room. The lectern we're putting here is going to be electrically operated, and it'll go down to wheelchair height, so wheelchair users can sort that themselves. And the AV system is designed around those with hearing and sight issues. Beauty. The east window is the key to it, but we're trying to make this building beautiful. At the moment, this end looks more like a furniture store because it's got bits of furniture from all kinds of churches over the years. The rear dos will be lovely, the lighting, the whole decor. So we want to make it beautiful. And we want to make it sustainable. Most of that is the things I told you about before with the heating and the insulation, and the solar arrays, but the double glazing is part of that. And safety, new fire escape that we need. So they're the issues we're trying to solve. And one of the principles we said we'd work with was to respect our history. And so there are loads of things we're doing, but these are some simple examples. The pew I told you about turning into a war memorial. The Stations of the Cross are all going to be mounted on the vestry wall. They'll all be together there, so you can see them. Some of them are in store at the moment. The rood screen, we're going to use most of it. One piece of it will be the back of the new sound desk platform. That golden cornice at the top will be at the top of the vestry. So we're reusing everything we can. Most of you won't know, in the middle of that high altar up there, there's a stone from Lindisfarne set in the middle of it. Who's seen it? Yeah, about 10 people. Well, we're going to take that out and cut it out, make it into a plaque and put it on the wall so we don't just trash it, and that's it in memory of St Oswald. The Holy Trinity Cross, as I've said, we're gifting that to St John's Leamington, who are applying to be able to fly it above their rood screen. So those are the ways we're trying to honour what's been given in the past and use it appropriately. And this is the kind of furniture you'll see in the new build. That's the new holy table, the lectern, the seats I told you about, and the sound and AV desk. There'll be a couple of those at the back. to give you a visual feel. So that's a quick overview of what it's going to be like. You want to see the pictures properly in the drawings, see me afterwards. Phase 8 is a car park extension. We are investigating ways of making it possible to park on the grass all year round using a GRP reinforcement. So that's not progressed that far yet, but we're looking at ways of extending that. And the final stage, phase 9, is a new build, which we have the outline designs for from the architects, and that would go from the foyer in that direction, pretty well over where the old school used to be. And the designs we've got at the moment, it includes an office, lots of toilets, lots of storage space, a big hall that can be split into small rooms. And that design is essentially there, and it'll have a servery. And very quickly, how can we afford all this? Where's the money coming from? Well, we have some money from the sale of St Matthew's building. We've used 82,000 of that. There's 113 left. We have reserves in our own accounts from sales of buildings in the past, 192,000 there. And our own general account has more in it at the moment than our reserves policy says we need. So there's some extra there. So we have just about enough to do all the things I've told you about if our cost estimates are right. We're also in the process of trying to sell Dixon Hall, and that will give us, we think, net around 235, presuming that goes through, and we're still in that process. So those are the assets we will have. The costs, the heating, the solar panels, the new roof, we've got pretty good quotes on those. The reordering in here, most of it's very tightly costed. The difficult bit is the building work, because it all depends when you ask. I'll give you an example. The building work next door, when we first had it quoted for, was 5,000. The cheapest quote we could get a few months later was 12,000, simply on builder availability. So it's hard to cost estimate, but that's the best we've got. And so when all that work's done, if Dixon Hall sells, and potentially in the future with the office moving and the small rooms built, we can sell 1A New Street, we won't have enough to do the full extension. And realistically, that means the sort of money we're talking about, it's going to be legacy income. So that's just one thing I'd leave on your plates, in your wills. Is that something you can think about, leaving legacies? Because that will be the way to build up the amount for that big extension. But the rest of it, we funded, and we're there. So it's the permissions are the key issue. And that's it. I hope that gives you a feel. There's a lot of work to do, but please pray about those permissions. The council with the heating, and the planning committee, and the faculty for the reordering of here. One thing I didn't mention, why are we doing all this and spending all this money? Straight answer is because we believe the Lord's asked us to, but in terms of its purpose, if you think what's happened since we redid that room and the growth of ministries like Connections and Make Time, this is about growing God's kingdom and reaching people for Christ. And this is all about that too.